So here we go. All right, welcome everyone to new episode of Coral Living. Today we have a special guest all the way from the great Alberta out west. We've got Brother Jer on. No, he's not a priest, but we're gonna
bless you, my child.
we're, we're gonna get into it today. Today we're gonna do something a little bit different. We tend to talk about spiritual subjects and personal development, but a little of that kind of blends in with politics. It seems to be on everyone's tongue these days. There's a lot going on in the country. So if you're from the States or a different country, we're from Canada. Right now we're in the midst of election with all the COVID and stuff. But I thought a good topic to bring up would be selfish politics. Now here's the thing. When you go to the voting polls, you bring your beliefs, you bring your values, you bring your morals. Yeah. Jeez, it's gonna fart. And so it really contributes.
Some people have emotional support animals.
Yes.
Yeah. Some people have emotional support animals.
So
it's my emotional support animal. Suppresses my acute Tourette syndrome.
Okay. So anyway, we'll walk right into it. I actually had the opportunity to vote today. They opened early polls, so I got my ballot in today. And I can definitely say that there's probably some selfishness in my vote. But what about you? What about you, Jim Morrison?
How can you?
Have you voted yet? Have you voted?
How dare you vote? I'm offended you voted. I'm offended.
What about you, Jer? Have you voted yet?
I have not voted yet. No. I'll probably leave it to the last minute. I'll probably be angry and waiting in lines, and who knows? Maybe I just won't even.
I beat the line. Is it really worth voting? No, I don't know. That's another subject we can get into. But when you vote, when you're casting your vote, do you really take time to think, am I just voting for this person because this is gonna make my life easier, give me the best opportunities to succeed? Or when you do vote, do you go into the vote thinking, even though I don't like it, I'm gonna vote for what I think is going to help the majority of us? Are you looking for a grander scape, or are you just, when you go to that vote, are you the primary person you're going to the vote for? Or you and your family, maybe, I guess.
Right. Who's answering first?
You can jump right in, Jared. You can jump in.
I think, well, for myself, definitely I'm voting for what's best for me.
Straight up honest.
I don't think, it seems a little disingenuous when people throw out that they're voting like they care about everything else. Like, I personally do not have the capacity to care about every other human being on this planet. I got a wife, 4 kids. I work a lot of hours. That doesn't mean that my vote doesn't go toward, like, I don't want to see people homeless in the streets. I do care. I want to live in a city. So by extension, my selfishness, it extends to the type of society I'd want to live in. I don't want to see people homeless in the streets. I want to see people get the help they need. I don't want to see immigrants. I don't want to live in a society where people are denied
healthcare or something like that.
Well, yeah, but I don't want to see people denied opportunities because of their ethnicity, their background, wherever they come from. And yeah, but overarching that is what's good for me. And I think that's a democracy, right? Like, everybody votes what's good for them, and collectively what's, the majority rules. But I mean, everybody should be voting for what they think is right and what's in their heart and in their interest, in my opinion.
Yeah. What about you?
Pass.
Pass.
Yeah, pass.
That's
Hard pass.
a hard pass.
Hard pass.
Yeah, no, I don't know. With what's going on, I feel I felt a little conflicted in my vote. Not that it probably matters to anything, but there seems to be going on in our country a huge liberal, like right now the powers that be tend to all hang out in the liberal camp. And then even the conservatives of Canada seem to have gone central left, like the Aaron O'Toole camp.
Yep.
Have you noticed, but we do have probably the most conservative party would be the PPC party, which seems to be kind of exploding right now. I think they're going to get a lot more support than people expected. Now, I like socialist programs. I like programs that, stretch us a little bit to, include dental plans for the elderly. I like all this stuff. But one of the big deciding factors in this election has been the mandatory vaccine thing, which has made a lot of people swing towards the PPC party because they're the only party that says they're not going to mandate vaccines. Do you find that is a big thing out in Calgary?
Well, Alberta in general is far more right-leaning than our eastern counterparts, right?
Especially Alberta. Alberta's known for its conservative.
Yeah, it's definitely far more conservative here, and yeah, you definitely sense that. You definitely feel that people don't like their individual rights stepped on. Like, I mean, it's your choice, it's your body, it's your life. Having said that, I'm double vaccinated. I've been vaccinated. I'm not. I don't think it's wrong if somebody doesn't want to get vaccinated, but collectively society seems to want it. And it makes sense to me. I don't think the government's out to poison us. I don't think they're trying to neuter us or render us sterile or implant a chip in us. Yeah. But if you don't want to get vaccinated, you have the right to say, I don't want to. It's my body. You can't inject something into me, but you also have to face the consequences. The majority has voted or they will vote. And if you don't want to get vaccinated, then you're going to have to pay the consequences, right? If you can't go to movies because of it, then you can't. But I'm definitely on the side of it shouldn't be mandatory.
Yeah, no, and have you noticed a big like PPC spike in Calgary at all, or do you know people that are like, I'm voting PPC this time. I'm done with these conservatives.
Well, I hate politics. I don't like to engage in political talk. Well,
you came to the right show then.
I came to the right show. Yeah, thanks for having me on. Generally with you guys it's one thing. We're family, so it's another to get into it with other people. I find most people have made up their mind and are not really willing to listen to anything, and politics is it's like religion, right? Like people are seldom willing to listen to the other side. So typically I also I'm very cynical by nature. I have a tendency to think that I vote, but I have a tendency to think that it doesn't matter or matters very little. And that what's been decided has already been decided. And it matters very little whether conservatives or liberal get into power. I'm not saying I'm right. I'm saying that's my feeling that,
Well, yeah, I don't know. I kind of think it'd be cool to see some type of a radical change that, brought more accountability to these people. To me, it doesn't matter. It doesn't seem to matter whether it's liberal or conservative. It's still pretty much the same thing. Not much changes. I don't know if you notice a big change in things, but it usually doesn't seem to matter who's in power. And I don't know, maybe I'm greedy, but I want better. I want an all around just better the whole system to be maybe shaken up a bit. Because it seems like right now, you know, things are getting more inflated. It's getting harder and harder for people to buy homes. And nothing really, you know, seems to be changing. Taxes just doesn't matter how hard you work. The harder you work, the rules just seem to get changed in favor of making sure you stay exactly where you are. So, you know, it'd be nice to, you know, maybe see something a little bit different go on. Whether I can, to me, it doesn't matter. It could be left wing or right wing. I just would like to see something different than the same old, same old. But I don't know. It'll be interesting to see where it goes. Were you going to chime in ever or what?
Yeah,
You going to say anything?
yeah, I'll chime in. There's this idea of everybody striving for some kind of golden age, for some kind of like thing that appeases everybody's individual wants. We could just end the whole stupid thing now, but I spoiler alert, it never ends in everybody being appeased.
Yeah.
Like everybody's wants are never going to be satisfied. So go ahead.
Well, we chip. To me, I feel like we chip away at it. We chip away at it. It's the problem is it feels like it's so damn slow. Like you, by the time you get to something that you thought, you know, you wanted, you're ready for the grave. It just seems like political evolution is very slow. It takes us a long time to learn lessons from the past and evolve and develop and, you know, take care, you know, maybe a higher consciousness, maybe a greater empathy as a collective is needed.
Why can't people handle the fact that it's probably not possible to appease everybody's biases? Why can't people handle that? Why can't they? Why is that not? Why does that resolves nothing? But why is that the case? That collectively, like, there's no end of battling and arguing. Like that's not going to stop because somebody's always disenfranchised. Whether it's somebody seeking retribution or somebody, you know, just trying to hang on to what they've already got.
Yeah.
Everybody's acting. The whole topic today is
selfish politics.
Selfish politics. So it's only always selfish. Like depending on what demographic you fall into, it's only ever exactly selfish. Like you can even have empathy and stuff like that, but you're always going to step on somebody's toes, and without everybody being completely upfront about exactly where they're coming from, which they're not going to do because it's detrimental. Am I making any sense?
Yeah,
Interrupt me for God's sake.
No, I agree 100%. I think people don't consider that it's a constant battle, and that you always have to fight for what you want, and that you're never. Justin's right. You're never going to appease everybody. You can't appease everybody. But people think they can. People think they can create a utopia, and they can't. It never will be.
What if there's an unspoken massive group of underground psychopaths that are like, I really want chaos. Like I really, really want suffering. I want to dominate the people around me. I don't want to be equal to them. I want my status to be higher than them. I'm never going to be satisfied until I feel that they want to be me and can't be. So what do you do if I'm not even accusing, you know, everybody out there in the internet world? I'm saying, what if that exists?
It does exist.
Some evidence that it does, because that's kind of how people operate. What do you do with those people that are like, I'm never going to tell you the truth about my true intentions? Like this political thing, this political discourse is just nonsense. It's bull crap back and forth. And everybody acts as if there's something tangible that they can latch onto. You can't.
Well, I think the thing is you got to mobilize. You've got to fight if you care. If you don't care, then
easy. It's really water he's drinking.
It's all right. Go on.
Go on.
Demonetized.
Demonetized. Drink on video. No. It's water. It's water in the bottle.
It is. It
Kids,
is
don't
really.
drink. Don't drink and drive. No.
Groundwater.
Look, I'm not asking for a John Lennon-esque utopia. I don't. But like
I am.
the end of pursuing. Well, I thought you were just saying that it was impossible.
I'm still asking for it.
Yes.
I know it's impossible.
So, like the push towards, moving towards better. Look at everyone always. I think as long as we keep saying that's impossible, then it'll probably be impossible. If we can ever get into a place of being, well, maybe we could do it, or maybe we might have an opportunity, even if it's not yet some perfect utopia, it can still be better than the system. I can't stand the fight to be like, we got to keep it the way it was, or we got to bring it back to the 1950s.
Oh, yeah. Bring it backwards. It's not gonna
It's
happen.
never going to be the 1950s again. They didn't have the technology that we have again, but people, yammer on about how all the good old days and where it used to. That is not happening unless we, throw all our technology in the garbage and move back to, hanging our clothes out on the, on the line every week.
And disenfranchise
No
like a
TVs.
massive amount of people.
Yeah. So, I don't understand this preservation of this idea, of like, oh, the good old days. It probably wasn't as fantastic as you think anyway. They didn't have like the scientific things to help you in the medical fields that they have today. Think about all the things you take for granted that you have today that weren't around back then.
What are we talking about preserving? Maybe I'm
Just like there's the progressive side, and then there's kind
like
of
traditional family values.
The traditional way of trying to constantly keep things in one place. Like a lot of people are still fighting for, some idea, some fantasy in their head of how things used to be. But it doesn't incorporate, you can't be what it used to be because we have things now that are going on that have changed where we are. Right? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So I just find that there's a lot of that going on. And we were talking about the whole utopian thing. And I feel like a lot of people kind of steer towards the side of, preserving what we already have. And they're worried about like some new system, like the hardcore, capitalists that are like, it's the best system. It's the best thing that's ever done. And it's giving all the people what they need. And, anything else is blasphemy. I think we could try, some new things, as they come down the pipe. I think a lot of people are kind of scared of that, but I don't know whether it's not, capitalism and socialism creating some type of a baby and, working out of it that way. That might be the future we're headed through. It seems actually like that might be what we're headed down.
Neo-capitalism.
Well, I think a balance is key, right? Like, what are you going to do? Disenfranchise all the hard workers and all the people that produce the goods and come up with the good ideas and work hard and make things happen? What are you're going to screw them over for all the people that whine? But sometimes the people that are whining have a point, right? They can't be left in the dust either. I don't believe in a hyper-capitalist system where you just let the poor and those who maybe aren't intelligent, strong enough, or their circumstances are absolutely horrific. You can't let those people just fall by the wayside either, right? Because that's the world you live in. I don't understand how people don't see that it seemed, when I say I vote selfishly, I mean, what I mean is at least I've put some thought into the world I want to live in. Like, I don't want to see, I'm not aiming to be better than my neighbor, so my neighbor can be crushed in poverty and I can build a castle and see them suffer and make myself feel good. That's not what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Like, I would like to see a world where there's safety nets for people, like where we still value grace, compassion, empathy, where we believe in giving people opportunities, being a land of hope and dreams. That is good. That's not necessarily a utopia. That still involves a lot of struggle and a lot of work, right?
Yeah.
But at least there's safety nets where people don't, their lives just don't crumble into nothing. And Like what kind of world is it where you can't walk down the street because there's gun violence and gangs, and that's not a world I want to live in.
Yeah.
And it still exists on this planet. That still happens.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think it'll ever not exist. Like I said, I think balance is key. I don't think you can eradicate these problems. I think you can chip away at the system and work it so you keep it at the most minimum, at a minimal level, right? I think we have a good system, not that it can't be better. I'm a little concerned that we're moving in a direction where we're going to try to please everybody, and that is not going to work. But
no, that's impossible.
Anyway, your thoughts?
I don't know. Then maybe I'll play devil's advocate. Not that you can please everyone, but that we can try and make it better. Like one of the new platform things, although I didn't even vote for the guy, was that I like the idea of universal dental care for everyone. Although, I thought that was a good idea until he was like, well, if you make this much, you're not included. And then, like that. But again, that's my selfishness. That's my selfishness being like, well, they consider me to make too much money that I wouldn't get it.
It's not selfish to consider the ramifications of giving people free things. Like, I can only hypothesize. I don't have the statistics on me, but what if the case is that free healthcare, even something like that, creates a weaker brood? You know what I mean? Like the generation that gets certain things given to them without having to struggle for them actually becomes weaker and maybe even morally like decadent in a negative way, like becomes morally degraded. Like, what if there is something to be said about giving people things that aren't earned? Everything in nature everything outside of humans who seem to just want to build a giant pillow around ourselves seems to struggle for what they get in life. And so what if that's to be taken into consideration when talking about these things, like pressure and consequence and all these different things? And then now you're not only giving free healthcare, but you're giving free dental care, you're giving free this and free that and free this and blah, 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 blah. What if that actually takes away from some kind of substance or some kind of meaning in a person's life? Again, just ranting, just yammering. Your guys' thoughts on that? I don't know. Jerry, you can jump in.
Okay, yeah, I do have thoughts on that. I mean, what's the harm in trying? If it doesn't work, if the society becomes soft, I mean, my whole life is just trial and error. I don't know what I want. I still don't know what I want to be when I grow up, but I still got to go to work. I still got to I didn't know how many kids I'd have. Didn't know if I'd be a good father. Now I got 4. Everything's trial and error. Everything's working at things, figuring things out. If you give everybody free dental and it taxes the system too hard, and we find out that free dental makes everybody weak, then we can always take it back. I mean,
we could, but the consequences thereof, that's a simple way of kind of approaching it, like trial and error, see how it works. But there are consequences for trial and error. You can't always just try things without there being long-lasting consequences.
Well, you should have to at least think about it.
I mean, dental's not even that big of a thing. But I mean, when you're considering who you're going to vote for politically or where the country's going, and you see people that are maybe more socialistic and then people that are more capitalistic, there's constant, you're kind of damned if you do and damned if you don't. I agree with your opinion on you got to run the test and see what the results are, but you also have to sleep in the bed that you've made. So if you run a test and then you say this test was executed poorly, you have to understand the gravity. You have to understand the size of the consequence, I think. Or maybe you don't have to, but it's fun to talk about.
No, I think people, I agree. You have to live with the consequences, and wiser men than me are the ones that hopefully come up with these ideas and say, hey, listen, I love the idea of universal dental. I've never understood it. It's like a rotting tooth in your mouth is pain, and you can't fix it. It's pain. That's your health. Gum disease and stuff contributes to heart disease and all sorts of things. It's for whatever reason, it's just labeled as just cosmetic. But also think of people's teeth when they're rotting out of their head. That's a very limiting. It's not like your flesh just rots. It's not like your hair just rots or your nails just go black. I mean, it's limiting to smile and people turn away because you're hideous.
All right, no more jobs. No more tank every.
Yeah, no. I've known many people in this life who had just horrific dental situations. It's not even a subject that I've even like feel passionately about. But now that we're talking about it, I feel like I've thought about it in the past where I've never understood why that isn't.
Well, apparently it was supposed to be a part of our law, our healthcare law. I don't know what contributed to that. At least that's what Japmeet Singh, the NDP leader, was saying, that it was supposed to originally be a part of the system, and I don't know, somehow it got pulled out of it. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, but the way that money gets spent and allocated, do you guys feel that like the system that we have is like perfectly or mastermindedly, like made to keep us all in the spots that we are? Like,
I think it's a miracle that people aren't beating the hell out of each other in the streets. I think it's a miracle that anything works.
Yeah,
given people's pettiness with a capital P and selfishness. I think the fact that we can make society work as well as we do is a miracle. People got to like take a step back and be grateful, because that's not human history at large.
Yeah,
it doesn't reflect that. You've got a book right there that says Our Inner Ape.
Yeah.
You know the social dynamics of humans and at the core what we are.
Yeah.
When it comes to status seeking and our selfish nature. What we've done is a miracle. Can it be improved? Hell yeah. I think it can be improved, but I don't think people take enough consideration into like all this stuff. I mean, let's face it, it's going to depend on our geniuses to care about future generations. Like, that's what it boils down to, that hopefully collectively we have enough intuition to vote in and elect proper leaders that can wield us like puppets towards a brighter future, because it's not going to be dependent on three guys on a podcast. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
yes, no, this is big right here. This is a big podcast.
You can only have hope.
The whole country's watching.
All you can have is hope that we collectively learn from our mistakes and move forward, kind of like we have been doing, but it's like 2 steps forward, 3 steps back sometimes in history.
Yeah. I feel like we're taking a little bit of a step back.
I feel like the things I say barely make a point. Anyway, whatever.
I think, to me, I get this sense that people in our country are kind of sick of the old kind of liberal conservative, just them going back and forth, and I get a sense now that people are starting to be like, yeah, I'm done with that. I want those establishments done and over with. And I don't care whether it's super far left or super far right, anything but conservative or liberal. Do you get a sense of that at all, Jared?
I don't get it. Like, no, but like I said, I don't really roll with a lot of people that love politics. I personally don't care and don't follow closely. I'm not passionate about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't get the sense of it when I'm out in the side. I don't feel like people are inside. That resonates with me though. What you said is that I'm almost kind of sick of conservative or liberal, and I guess it doesn't even make sense to me. Like, so traditionally, and I would say even now, I lean far more to the right. I believe in conservative values, but see the need for moving forward and progressing
Yeah.
In left directions, right? Like, why can I be a conservative and not want free dental for people?
Yes.
But I mean, that's like, why do I have to be identified as like? It's almost like
You
you're going against the.
radical. You
It's like
radical.
it's almost going against the tribe to say, no, like I think that's a good idea. That's a can we make it work? Like, I don't know how to make it work,
If
but
you can responsibly somehow come up with a plan to make something like that work, I'm good with it. I think people are just sick and tired of the people just saying, oh yeah, we're just gonna do this. Well, how are you gonna do it? And then it's just like, we're gonna do it. Well, give us a plan. Tell us how you're gonna do it. Whose pocket are you gonna be poaching to make that thing happen, right? And I feel like there's a lot of sidestepping and avoidance of those types of things that people are just so damn sick of.
I guess it's just odd. Part of that sentiment comes from the fact that we know politicians are corrupt. I'm not saying they're all corrupt. I'm sure there's good guys, but it isn't like there isn't any shortage of corruption and side deals behind closed doors. And heaven forbid we find out what actually is going on with our food distribution system and our farming and what subsidies big farming companies get and seed companies get. I don't know. I'm just saying we might be shocked at who profits at the top, but I mean, we also get to afford to eat. And while food prices are going up, we still get to eat well. And maybe our standard of living does get cut down a bit, and that never feels good. But we also, like to Justin's point, we're not all killing each other in the streets. Life's good enough that we're not completely miserable, filled with rage and vengeance and hatred towards mankind. Collectively, we've
at least
doing
figured
okay.
out how to rein that in. You know what I mean? Like, we've taken our street roaming Mohawk adorned Mad Max characters and given them jobs. Thank God. You know what I mean? That keep society in order rather than just pirates and barbarians.
Things can go backwards though. Things can get so bad. Like, things can get worse.
Oh yeah, there's definitely countries that things have taken some far steps back in the wrong direction. I still, with all the bitching and complaining that we do about our politics here in Canada, I still think we live in a pretty awesome country. And I still think we also live in the best day and age ever in recorded human history.
Oh, absolutely.
Without a doubt. Come on.
So, we talk and we
long live the Kardashians.
Oh God.
Yeah.
A staple of our college. There's a place for everybody. Culture. When they look back 500 years on it, on humanity from now, they'll be just shaking their heads like, can you believe the stuff that they used to do?
Probably, yeah.
But yeah, I don't know if I have a time limit here on Zoom. I feel like you only get like 45 minutes and then it shuts your meeting off or does something you have to I don't know. I'll have to look into that later. Which, with that said, I would like to kind of wrap things a little up, but before I do that, I would just like to give everyone one last say. Since we are on this election, you've got the PC party, the Conservatives, the Liberals, the NDP, the Green Party, the Libertarians, I guess. I don't know. I haven't heard anything of them. But what do you predict as an end result, Jer, for the elections in the next coming week?
What do I predict? I predict the Liberals will win.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that's what I want. I'm saying
you're predicting you think the Liberals are going to win?
Yes.
All right. What about you?
I predict the Conservatives will win.
Yeah.
But I want to say something too. People do look back on past times and look at them with admiration.
Yeah.
There are, incel dudes out there to this day that are like, the 1950s were the best time. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Okay, pal. You know what I mean? Like, we all know why you'd prefer that. But
yeah, it wasn't even that long ago we were burning women at the stake for being witches because they had moles on their faces.
Right. Some people think that was the golden age.
Yeah. For me, I guess my prediction is I think the conservatives are going to kind of squeak off a little bit of a majority government. I think the conservatives and the liberals are going to go down both, and I think the NDP and the PPC party are going to take a lot of the NDP will take a lot of liberal votes, and the PPC is going to, I think they're going to get more seats in the House. I think the PPC might actually get 10 seats, but we'll have to see about that. But yeah, that pretty much wraps up this session on selfish politics. Jer, welcome. Thanks for coming out.
Good to see your brother, Jer. Sorry it was so sterile and
rename the channel Beards.
Beards. The Beardo brothers.
I look like the Lost Bee Gee. Stand up.
So with all that said, I will end the recording here, and I guess until the next episode, stay spiritual.